Madam Clerk, may we please have a roll call?
Takoi Devlin,
Here.
Shaylin Dunn, Brianna Gardner, Nadia Hamilton, Ronnie Johnson, Divine Stanley, Joshua Stubbs.
Here.
Okay.
Welcome to the March 26, 2025 meeting of the Daytona Beach Youth Advisory Board. We're happy to have you with us tonight. At this time, we have the Pledge of Allegiance by Ronnie Coleman. Johnson.
I'm like,
Johnson.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
My bad, Ronnie.
We will now move on to item number 3, the approval of minutes of the January 29th, 2025 meeting. Are there any questions or comments from the board? If none, may I get a motion and a second to approve those minutes?
speak.
A motion.
Okay. Can we get a second on that? Motion to approve the minutes? Just say a second motion.
I second motion.
Okay. Don't be afraid of us, guys.
Motion carries.
Or if you just want to say, all those in favor of approval, say.
All those in favor of approval say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the same sign. The motion carries 5-0.
We will now move on to item number 4, presentations. Madam Clerk, please report.
Okay, we have 2 presentations today. Our first presentation is on F.A.M.E, which is the Federation of Advanced Manufacturing Education, and presenter is Jessica Lovat, President and CEO of the V.M.A.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jessica Lovett, President and CEO of the Volusia Manufacturers Association. Our legal name is V.M.A. We're the region's #1 resource for manufacturers. We have over 500 manufacturers in Volusia County alone. So what that means is how many jobs that we have available. Probably somewhere around 12,000 to 13,000 jobs in the county. Why F.A.M.E? What is F.A.M.E? So you heard the brief description of Federation for Advanced Manufacturing Education. What the program does is you go to work in a manufacturing plant 3 days a week, you go to school 2 days a week, and at the end of 5 semesters, you graduate with an advanced manufacturing technician degree. What does that look like for your future? Well, when you're looking at career paths and how long schooling takes, this fine gentleman in front of me has decided that law is a fantastic path for him. But it also takes somewhere around 8 to 12 years to truly become a lawyer, and then you have your beginning steps and all the other steps. Well, approximately 2 years and 1 semester, you're going to graduate with a degree in a field that starts off paying somewhere around $65,000. Okay, so when you're looking at budgets and how much you can afford, that's probably 1.5 times of what your high school teachers have made, unless they've been there for 30 plus years, which most of them haven't. Typically around year 20, that's about the time that they should stop teaching. They don't always, but they should. One of the success stories that we had, we graduated a young man who was working for Germ-Free. They make they make multiple sizes. They contain germs all over the world. So we had a moon rock that came down, so it can't be in the United States or in our world's atmosphere. So it has to be pressurized and has to stay so that it doesn't turn to dust. That's what Germ-Free does. Or if there's a country that has an Ebola outbreak or something along those lines, you need to have those germs tested and safe. So they make the mobile labs that do that. Once this student graduated, he was recruited from our area. His starting wage was $65,000 at Gentry after he graduated. Then he moved to North Carolina to travel around the world to share best practices with the company that he moved to, and he's now making $95,000 a year and can't rent a car. So, those are just that's just one success story that we've had, but there's a multitude of those things. And the network for F.A.M.E is absolutely incredible. And it's a pathway that I don't know if any of you have been to Universal Studios. Have you? All right. Who has ridden the Hulk? Nobody?
Me.
The line's too long? You've never ridden it once because the line's too long.
The people I was with wouldn't go with me.
I will go with you. That is my favorite
gonna
roller
pay?
coaster of all times. And yes, I will pay. When you are on that roller coaster, typical roller coasters take that slow tick, 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 tick. Well, when you're on the Hulk, it just shoots you out like a rocket, and then you go through the roller coaster of life. So our F.A.M.E program is basically like the Hulk, but for real life. Just a trajectory that gets you going, gets you moving, gets you where you need to be faster than anything else. Who has questions? No questions at all. Not how do you pay for it, not how does this work, how much money do you make during it? None? Okay.
Yeah, wait.
You make money during it?
Oh,
How does
yeah.
that how does that work?
Well, because you're working 3 days a week at a manufacturing plant. And then I've also put Career Source on the chopping block because they have money for employees, right? Well, they also want to get most of Florida educated for all the great companies that are moving to Florida. It's a specific skill set. Well, this falls under the specific skill set. So not only are you getting paid by your company, Career Source pays your tuition and books. Making money? College is paid for.
You get to choose where you're working.
Yes and no. It's kind of like when you go and apply for a job, you don't always get your number one choice, but you certainly get a choice. We have 10 companies that are fighting for employees. The F.A.M.E program only has 20 slots. We would love to have 150 applicants, but we're excited if we get 15 of those slots filled. So if this sounds like something, if you like engineering, if you like how things are made, if that's how your brain works, then this is the slot for you. And if you like art, this can also be the slot for you. I don't know if any of you know this, but the majority of engineers that I know are phenomenal artists because it takes a special part of your brain to be able to see how things are made and to make them better, to make them work faster, to make them stronger. So I was like, this should go this way. And they're like, no, this cannot because the door won't open. Oh, that's a good idea. You gotta get in, you gotta get out.
The VMA, you didn't, is that Volusia Manufacturing Association or is that?
Yeah, we shortened that because we're not only in Volusia County anymore. We're in Flagler, a little bit of Brevard, a little bit of Seminole, so we're regional.
Is this a program for high school students or?
They have to graduate high school and get into Daytona State.
Okay, so it's a Daytona State program. It's a certificate.
It's a manufacturer's program.
Yeah.
And you graduate with a degree, so it's not a certificate program. It's not a certification program, even though there's a tremendous amount of certificates and certifications that you're getting while you're getting a degree. You're getting a 2-year degree in 5 semesters.
Okay.
Do you need a high school diploma? Like you said, a high school diploma, but what if someone has a GED?
That'll work. As long as you can pass the math test to get in there, and even if you can't pass it the first time, then we're going to send you to remedial math, and then you can get in the program. We're happy.
How do they find out more about entry and those types of things? Is it contacting just the college itself? Or?
The contact is the college itself. The woman's name is Wendy Samuels. If you run into a problem at Daytona State and you can't find anything out about that, call me. My cell phone number is 904-228-1288. I can get you to the correct places that you need to go.
And Wendy's name is spelled the Sandals. You said
Samuels.
Samuels, okay. I thought it was sandals. Okay.
No, not sandals.
Okay, good.
What 10 companies are currently?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me this. ABB, germ-free, not sure if Boston Whalers taken any students right now. Dougherty was taking students, but so some companies are in and out depending on their needs. It's a pretty expensive program for employers, but they see the need and the worth for it. I am currently going to my cell phone, going to F.A.M.E, Daytona State. So you'll see an AMT. Go to that page. It's not going to show you all of our companies. Arg. And of course, I did not bring my glasses. Oh, and then so the PERT test is something that you have to pass to get in there. But then what they do is they give you sample PERT tests so that you can see where you are in the scale to get there. Because I personally failed the math test at Daytona State. I'm like, this is a gimmick. You just want me to pay more money to go to an extra class. Just tell me that. I'll give you the $300 and you can leave me alone. But that is something that happens. So. Yeah. Sky was a company that they manufacture actual full guns, not just gun parts, but they're not taking a student this time. Gentry definitely will. ABB definitely will. ABB is a company that you're going to see on Iron Man, where that last arm, I think it was Iron Man 3, where Tony Stark gets lost and he goes into the garage with the kid. And then he sends him at the end of the movie, oh, look, here's your own robot arm. That's the ABB arm. They don't make those. However, what they make here are the parts and pieces that go into a telephone pole, so they keep all of us turned on lights at any given time.
And the companies you're naming are in the area? Okay.
Yeah, the ABB's in Ormond Beach, Germfree's in Ormond Beach. They're actually in the same park at the Ormond Beach Airport. Then Bylight, which is in Port Orange, Spartan, which is in De Leon Springs. Spartan and Bylight both have government contracts. One of them makes gun simulators so that we don't have to waste bullets teaching people how to shoot guns or drive tanks. Like no human is getting run over, no trees, no buildings are being demolished, all because we have a simulator now. So they make those simulators. So if you like video games, that's a cool place to work.
And then it's a school and work component. So when you say the school for 2 days and work for 3, or opposite? 3?
So work 3, school 2.
Yeah.
All in the same
But all
hand.
of that is all part of the program, and that gets you to the completion degree, the 2-year degree.
It does. And throughout that program, you have several mentors that make sure that you're staying on track, to make sure that you're doing the things that you need to do, and make sure that your grades are where they need to be. So if you happen to need a tutor or something and you're putting in the work, then everybody's right there with you and supporting you. The entire community is with you, supporting you.
Is it the standard cost of the regular 2-year degree, or is there additional costs for or lab or anything like that?
It is standard, and any costs that incur for labs and things, VMA covers. We have an entire sector of our budget that is black boxed just for actual education. So say you want to do a project and it's going to cost an extra $300. We don't want you guys coming out of pocket for that. The goal is to get you through and get you graduated without any debt and have a high paying job so that you can live on your own and be productive members of society. That's the whole goal.
And you still can go to school after you finish that and complete additional degrees if that works out in your life plan.
Exactly. And most students have taken that initial the initial degree and morph that into an engineering degree through F.A.M.E. So some of them stay at Daytona State, some of them move to UCF, so it just depends how they can fit that in.
Do you find this program has helped companies come to our area to, because that's one of the things Daytona as a city wants to have better paying jobs here in Daytona Beach and things like that. So do you think this, if there's a resource here that they come here then, or
So it absolutely does.
Okay.
My work with CEO Business Alliance, with Volusia County Economic Development, this is something that has really been an eye-opener and stating, oh, look, because when we created this program, I'm not really making a perfect triangle here. I love this video where I can see myself talk. It's a little weird. But we made it so that each piece, each point of the triangle was the school, the manufacturers, and the community. So the association, me, community. So that way we're creating an actual life for people and not just a silo. And people, companies, all of those things. The average wage in our area is, I think it was $52,000, which was Career Source's last report. And then the average wage in manufacturing in our area was $73,000. So this is why manufacturing is a massive asset to any community that you bring to town. It's something that completely gives back. It's not a drain on the resources. When we're making things here, then it spreads out also. I think for every dollar spent in manufacturing, 4 more go back to the community. So these are things that make it, oh, wow, this is super cool. This is super amazing. We love this. We want more of it. Most of the manufacturers in our area have less than 20 employees. So you'll see the big ones like Teledyne. That's also a F.A.M.E company that is on Ridgewood. They make underwater connectors. I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember the Gulf oil leak where they had a tanker, but not a tanker, but they had a drilling site, and they were drilling into the dirt underwater in the Gulf. And then all of a sudden something broke. And when that thing broke, spilling all kinds of crude oil into the ocean. What you may not know is the person that made the fix happened to work for Teledyne. So not only are we saving plant life and sea creatures and everything else, but we're also creating very cool technology that we utilize every day. So
Now, these young folks sitting up here are the voice of youth that will be coming to the commission and spreading the word of what young people see, need, and desire. How is this being marketed to young people? Is it like coming here? What else have we? Is it something you go to schools or do anything else?
I will literally talk to anything that will listen to me, whether it's a wall, whether it's your principals, whether it's your teachers. So yes, we are in a multitude of schools. We have the F.A.M.E students going to schools. That's part of the F.A.M E program, learn how to speak in public, because at any given time, you guys are gonna have to give a report to somebody, whether it's your bosses, whether it's your coworkers, something. And it's much nicer to see someone speak who is proud and excited about speaking, as opposed to somebody who's sitting there just trying to hide. They're being real quiet. So you need a little bit of training to get used to that, to being in front of people, so it's not very nerve-wracking. But yeah, that's part of it. And we are trying to do everything that we can think of, except I'm not on TikTok. I can't get those videos down. There's like dancing involved. I'm bad at it. I just don't want to do it.
So if these young people wanted this to come into their school or a specific class or something like that,
Call me. I will be there. I will be there. I will bring people with me. I will bring smarter, funnier people with me. Some of them might be funnier looking. It's fine. We get that.
And are you going to leave information, or do we have information that I didn't look to see if I had?
I believe that
I have
Letitia
your
has
contact
100%
information.
of my information.
I just emailed everyone on the board the link to the website for Daytona State and the F.A.M.E program, so you guys have that link as of right now. So
Great.
does anyone else have any other questions or comments for Ms. Lovett?
Nothing?
No.
All right. I hope you guys have a wonderful meeting.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much
thank
for
you.
coming and
Thank you
presenting
for the
her.
information.
Very
thank you for the
informative.
invitation.
Yes.
I really appreciate it.
Okay.
Great job.
Thank you. Okay, our next presentation is from the police department. It's a presentation by Captain Richard Gentry.
Hope everyone's doing well. Hope you had a good day. My name is Captain Richard Gentry on behalf of Chief Jakari Young with the Daytona Beach Police Department. Thank you for the opportunity. I'd like to start off just to thank each and every one of you for being part of this board. Very impressed. Our role, our responsibility is to ensure your success. You are our future. Your information is of extreme value to me personally and to our department. We look forward to implementing any positive programs for each and every one of you. Put your vision to life. Leadership is very important. Leadership starts at a young age, and you are our future at every level, at every profession. Law enforcement is just one profession, but there's many, many other professions that are very honorable. Medical, pilots, doctors, you name it. So I wish you all the very much success. I brought two of my supervisors, our newly appointed supervisor for our Police Explorer program. I'll have them speak in a couple of minutes. I'm very proud of both of them. As you see, they got their new rank on their insignia. And the reason why they have that is they've earned that through their tenure with the program. It's just one of many positive solutions. And I have some other recommendations I'm gonna, recommend for you that we'll talk about in a second. But overall, I just want to thank you personally for taking a leadership role, taking time out of your busy schedule to be on this board. This is Leadership 101, and you should be very proud of yourself because you're gonna have a lot of people that work under your command. When you have someone working under your command, they're looking for your leadership, your guidance to inspire, motivate them, put them on the right path of success so they don't go down that wrong path. Our role in law enforcement is not to put everybody in jail. That's not the answer. It's not to write everybody tickets. That's not the answer. It's to be positive, problem solving, solutions, and just, success and happiness and health. The list goes on. To give you like an overview on youth violence in general, which is a very important topic to talk about. Number one, youth in the United States can be involved with violence. You could be part of violence as a victim, which is very unfortunate. You could be a witness to a crime. You could be a bystander. You didn't see everything, but you heard the violence. You heard the shots fired. You heard fire rescue pull up, or somebody got involved in domestic violence, for example. That starts at home, unfortunately. And domestic violence that starts at home, unfortunately, can lead to the workplace, to the school place. Homeland Security with their theory of you see something, you say something is very important for all of us, regardless of our positions, our titles, etc. And sometimes it's hard to come forth in front of everyone because nobody wants to be labeled a snitch, but there's a lot of other viable options. You could be anonymous, you can send an email and be anonymous. There's a lot of sources for you to give that information of importance so the proper authorities can take the appropriate actions to put things in place. And you're sitting in this seat for a reason, because I know a lot of your other students probably go to you for questions because they're going to a leader for guidance. And that's what leadership's all about, to ensure everybody's success. According to the CDC, there were 45,222 firearm-related deaths in the United States. It's a large number. So when we talk about violence, it's real. It's so real that it's heartbreaking for not just the victim, but for the families, and the list goes on. I think it's our responsibility to have measures in place to decrease, take away the opportunity. Have you ever heard of the crime triangle, by any chance, any of you? If you vision a triangle, you need three elements for a crime to occur. You need intent, ability, and opportunity. So our role is, number one, is to take away the opportunity so someone doesn't commit that crime. Ability, everybody has the ability, so it really goes on to the intent. That's values, morals, ethics that that you believe in, that you're legal, you're lawful, and you make the right decisions in life. We want everyone here at every level to make a very cognitive, positive decision in life that puts you on the path of success, not the path of the negativity with the court system, and the list goes on. So, but in order for a crime to happen, you need three elements: intent, ability, and opportunity. So anytime that you can put things in place to take away the opportunity, that's important at all levels: home, work, school, etc. Worldwide, when we talk about homicides, you're looking at 193,000 worldwide. And they're focusing on the age group of youth from 15 to 29 years of age, that group right there. And that's about 40% total number of these homicides globally each year. And a lot of them are involving males versus females, even though female is still a big number of that. Well, even with the domestic violence world, I've been in law enforcement 37 years. I did 30 years with Miami Police Department. I had the honor to continue the love of this profession, noble profession under Chief Jakari Young. And most importantly, domestic violence, it used to be always the male that was the offender. A lot of times it's the female, because our role is to identify the aggressor. If there's injuries and pursuant to state statute, the rules of law that we're all governed by, we have to make the right decision. And that puts, the criminal justice system, puts everything in motion with our criminal justice system. We have a great partnership with our state attorney's office at all levels, including positive programs to give somebody that second opportunity. There's a lot of programs within our court system, but our role is to prevent them from going there to begin with. That starts that from going. But overall, just, trying to deter and mitigate and prevent violence is all of our responsibility at the highest caliber. So I'm going to bring up our two sergeants real quick. I'm going to have them just do a little quick introduction, and because I want you to hear from somebody that's at that same age bracket of how this one program, this one viable option, has been a success for them. Come on up for a second, please.
Hello. My name is Brandon Williams. I'm sergeant with the Police Explorers. I've been there for a year now. It's honestly a really good program. It teaches you a lot of things. For starters, leadership and discipline. Obviously, law and everything like that. You make really good connections with the other explorers with us. Make new friends and everything else. I do know most of you up here actually. I think that's about it. But yeah. Sergeant Smith.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Jessica Smith. This is my second year going on Police Explorers. It's a really fun program. We actually get to know each other a lot, believe it or not. Good friend of mine, Sergeant Williams here. It definitely goes with discipline. It teaches you a lot in discipline along with responsibility. That's very important. And cooperation, definitely teaching how to work with each other. That's a big thing too, especially when we go to delegates and states. We learn a lot in the program along with law and DT counts too. But it's actually a future I really looked forward to. It's done a lot for me. And that's all I have to say.
You. I just thought it was important for you to have the opportunity to hear from them because, they're actually in that program. A couple of recommendations that I have. I would love to, and obviously everything, the final approval will come from our chief, but these are just some recommendations I thought are of tremendous value. I know our chief supports our youth at all levels, and so I'm pretty confident he'll agree. One option I would love to have is for you or any of your, students at the school to be a guest speaker at one of our briefings, for example. The purpose of that is for you to voice whatever concerns, ask any questions you may have, and then it's that positive interaction between you or anyone that you would like to be a guest speaker. And we have different times for our roll call. It's either in the morning, and we have two, all the times in the afternoon. It's either 6 in the morning, it's either 4 in the afternoon, or 6 at night. So those are the three options. But we can always create something. We have specialized units that you could be that guest speaker for. Our canine units, our criminal investigation detectives, but mostly it's mainly for patrol because most of the encounters with our youth or whatnot are going to be from the patrol level. And there's only three options there for our officers or our department. They either get dispatched to a call, so there's an encounter that way. It could be a traffic stop where it's just an educational aspect of the traffic stop. You don't have to write someone that ticket. I think you get more out of you just educate somebody because that positive relationship, and then you move on. But that bridging that gap between our youth and law enforcement, I think, is very important. We don't want to be focused as the bad one that all we do is put people in jail and write tickets, because we do far more than that at many levels. There's a lot of officers on this department that have a heart of gold that will help anybody and everybody when they can, when they're asked. We want to make sure we have that open dialogue accordingly. Our Police Explorer program, I will make sure that you have the applications for that if anyone is interested. It's Post 22 is our program for the Police Explorer program. And like I said, they do a little bit of everything. All of the training that we go through, we kind of put them through the same type of training. And they touched about it. It's about leadership. It's about discipline. Their grades at school are very important. We want you to get that magna cum laude. We want you to get that scholarship at college, universities, and we want you to be successful, be healthy, and be happy. It's just that simple. Another thing is we have a program that we have in Miami. It's called Do the Right Thing program. I sent that through our command staff before. Now that I'm had the honor to meet with you, I'm going to resend that to our chief again. And it's a program that starts at any school, elementary, middle school, high school, and it's pretty much a 501c3 program, and with support from the community and the city and et cetera. If any student, any faculty, teacher can nominate somebody who did the right thing. It could be at all different levels. And then we have a quarterly award or monthly award, and they are recognized for them doing a noble thing, doing the right thing. That's kind of the theme, that you did the right thing. Almost like the theme with Homeland Security, see something, say something, right? But it's a great program, so I will put that into place. It just recognizes great deeds, all the challenges that we all face at all levels, the trial and tribulations that we have. But when you have that support focus behind you, which you have the support of our city, you'll be successful. I would like to consider another option, what we call like a roundtable. We've done this before, where law enforcement creates a roundtable. So I'll take like a junior officer that's like brand new, a senior officer, maybe a sergeant, maybe a lieutenant or a captain, and then we have a roundtable, and you pick a board, even your board, and you have that, and it's just law enforcement and the youth, and you get to ask all the questions you want of why do we do certain things, and that way you get to hear it from us. And it just, again, it bridges that gap. We did that on a quarterly basis, and all the questions were like incredible, but it's good to educate. And then depending on the information, we can push that out on our social media, that we have an open line of communication, positive dialogue with our youth, because we recognize that this is your future, this is your career path, whatever it may be, your community, and the list goes on. So I know on February 11th, Commissioner Paris, one of our great commissioners, talked about that youth focused hangout zone. And I know she also talked about the collaborative space for learning and skill building. I thought that was phenomenal. So everything's about that when you come up with a recommendation, that hopefully expeditiously we put it in place. Because you're talking about one thing is one option, but put it into action, positive action is another. So as long as you are in support of us trying to put new programs in place, you try to do that as quick and efficiently and effectively as possible, so it doesn't drag out. So it's like 3 months later, we're talking about the same thing versus we talked about it last month, and next month it's in place. So as far as attending briefings, I could be the point of contact, and I can ensure that's arranged, and it just gives you that voice. And I want you to make sure you have that voice. Everybody, just like with the criminal justice system, everybody has that due process. Even when law enforcement effects an arrest, they're not guilty. We just have probable cause to believe that they, violated a specific element of a specific crime. We document everything, do our due diligence, and we present that case to our state attorney, and everyone gets due process, and we go from there. I won't mention the name, but like our state attorney, they have a young guns program with our state attorney's office, and they just sent out a press release that goes out, and it talked about young guns defendant indicted on first-degree murder. So this is unfortunate. This was an indictment that was handed down on Thursday morning. I don't want to mention his name, but he was charged with first-degree felony murder, burglary, and battery with aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, and for pistol whipping another man at his home. Tragedy. So, you look at this tragedy and like, where could we as a law enforcement agency or as a program to guide somebody in success so they don't go down this road of, destruction and, become and a lot of our youth, based on their criminal past, they could be adjudicated as an adult. That's the last thing that we want as well. Everything's about success and, listening to you. We want you to make sure that you have an open line of communication with us in the law enforcement profession. And that's with Volusia County as a whole, but definitely specifically for Daytona Beach Police Department. But I don't know if you have any specific questions for me, but just in closing, I know that our roundtable that we did in Miami was a tremendous success. And we're okay with the hard questions. And sometimes you may show a video and we can explain, exactly what actions we took. And I can assure you from the police department, we hold our officers accountable. They're responsible. And if they violate our departmental policy, they will be held accountable up to dismissal, up to being relieved of duty, up to being prosecuted. And there is nobody exempt. Nobody is above the law. Our chief holds us all accountable. We have our Axon cameras that, must be activated in any encounter for a reason. So any supervisor can review this if there's ever a complaint from the community. And we do our due diligence, a very fair, impartial, professional investigation, and we come in with a finding and we send our recommendations through our chain. Like I said, our goal is to prevent, is to mitigate, save lives, come up with great programs, and like our deputy city attorney mentioned, your voice is really important. So if you come up with a vision or an idea, I love putting those in place. I can create, a flyer. I can create an email of your words of wisdom, your recommendations, and I can send that out. I can take your message and make sure it's heard by everybody. I send it to our command staff. All of us in command staff, we have meetings every Monday morning, and we have meetings every Thursday afternoon. So I have two opportunities, two times per week, to send something to our chief and get his support on something that you may recommend. But I want you to be very proud of yourself, stay the course, stay in the fight for justice, for equality, for positive programs. We have a great rapport with our city attorney's office, and it's all about public service. It always has, always will. Our chief focuses on professional public servant, and that's what we stand for, we believe in, and just want you to know that you will always have our full support. So I don't know if anyone has any questions. Yes, sir.
Can you elaborate on the roundtable?
Pretty much it could be at any venue, because sometimes location is important. It doesn't always have to be at the police department. It could be at the school. It could be at the library. It could be anywhere that you think that would be of value. The community could be invited, for example. But the ones that you select at the table are very specific. So you would pick the top 2 or 3 people that you think would be of value at that roundtable. And then on the roundtable from the law enforcement perspective, again, I like the junior officer that's like brand new, because he's less than a year on. So he's still learning the profession, right? Then you do want a little bit of seniority that has the sound knowledge, like a field training officer, for example. You definitely want a supervisor on that roundtable because they have a leadership, mindset, holistic mindset versus just the patrol officer. Because the higher you go in rank, you have more responsibility to ensure everything is being done, professionally, ethically, morally, in compliance with policies, training, and best practices, if that makes sense. But basically, it's just giving you a voice to answer all the questions of the why, especially if you hear something on the news, you hear someone got arrested, or, you may see a body cam on something that you want to know, why did the officer do that? It just gives you the opportunity to ask that. And actually, it bridges the gap, and hopefully you build a relationship. And, because our goal is for the officers to be outside their car more than inside their car. If they drive by a park, they drive by, somewhere where there's a lot of kids out, we encourage our officers to get out of the car, network, throw the football, throw the basketball, just that positive community partnership. And in that way, they get that rapport with them. It's not always they're doing a traffic stop, they're in a foot pursuit with someone's going to jail. We do far more than that. Our numbers are very low in the perspective of our total calls for service. And use of force, national use of force, is less than 1% out of the total arrest on an agency, because it's less than 1%. So not everyone goes to jail either. And that's, like I said, it's not always the answer. We have to follow the law and our rules of law and our procedures, but there's other measures as well. Same thing with traffic enforcement. You can just give somebody a verbal warning. You can give somebody a written warning. That way it doesn't hurt their insurance, and you educate them. And or it might be a mother that has a child and she couldn't afford a car seat. So the officer says, follow me, and they go buy them. There's been many officers who have done those great deeds. And as leaders on our department, we would try to recognize and, commend those officers that go above and beyond the call of duty. But the roundtable is really just a good open line of communication, because you may have a lot of questions. And once you educate yourself as a leader that you are, you can educate your friends. Because, once you get that leadership role that all of you have, your friends are going to gravitate to you. Say, hey, I want to ask you a question. I saw that video, and then you're the one that's giving your perspective on it. And if you don't have the answer, we want you to have numbers to be able to call and get that answer. Hopefully that answers your question.
It did. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Anybody else? I know, Ronnie, I think this was one of your priorities, was about the youth crime and violence. And so I think the roundtable fits in a lot with
It
the idea
does.
that, yeah. So if you need any help persuading the chief on any of these, get with me and we can see, because I think that would be a great opportunity for them.
I think even pairing up and going to a briefing may be, beneficial too.
Yeah.
That you can do, at least don't feel like you're on your own. And it's informal and that, you just stand
Definitely
up and tell them and talk, and they're there to be informed of what they're going to do that night, and if there's some law updates and those types of things is what their briefings are for, and,
Right.
and to be able to have some interaction with them and would be useful. And I'm sure that you'd be welcomed, and then you'll also build a little bit of rapport that some young people like to have sometimes with law enforcement.
Yes. I'll just share another number with you. I got this from Halifax Hospital from the nurse director. So for 2024, there was 64 gunshot wounds that went into our hospital here in Daytona Beach for Volusia County. That's a high number. It shouldn't be that high. For stab wounds, 51. And this is from the medical staff at that hospital. They keep those tracks. So when we see these numbers, it validates that violence is real. So that's why these programs and, community partnership. And I always like, we all have that hope that things are going to be positive. We hope we're going to be healthy and hope you're going to be successful. So if you take the word hope and you kind of have a mnemonic for that, hope, I like for the H is like a holistic approach, meaning, law enforcement, education, youth intervention, positive, tangible, solutions in place. So there, so that H for hope just has a lot of value. When you go to O, it's this opportunity. There's a lot of positive opportunities for all of us to, we always have stats on what happened, but we never have stats on what did not happen. So when you put good measures in place and good programs in place, and because we need your support, because without your support, we won't be as successful as we want to be. For the P, it's just we got to be persistent with everything that we put in place. You got to follow up, make changes if need be, and obviously the last one is, for E is you got to execute it. You got to make it happen. Can't watch it happen. Can't wish it happen. You have to make it happen, and that's where your good grades come in, because you got to study a little bit to get that A or the top grades. And you challenge yourself. You want to be number one in your class. If it's physical education and you're doing PE and running, everybody wants to come in first. But somebody has to come in first. Somebody comes in second. Somebody comes in third. That's like the Olympics, the gold, silver, and bronze medal. So competition 101. But you make it fun and healthy and kind of go from there. Anything?
Okay.
Sure.
Do you have any other questions?
And this year is flying by, as you know.
Yeah.
Like we're almost getting ready for, spring break, and then it's going to be summer, and, Easter's around the corner. And I know that your parents are very proud of each and every one of you. So make sure you keep it, just smile and just enjoy life to the highest. You're surrounded by a wealth of expertise in this room. And you always have our support. It's just that simple. I want to thank you two for coming. That meant a lot. And they look sharp too. They even wore their class
look
A.
sharp.
They do.
Thanks.
Yeah. And do you have a vision of where you want to go after you graduate high school?
I'm going to go to State for a criminal justice degree.
Okay.
Master's. Work with Daytona Beach Police Department.
Me, I'm thinking of going into either being in forensics or detective, but I am currently already applied for Full Sail College. I'm going for a business degree.
See, and I know each and every one of you probably had that vision too. So I want you to, aim high and achieve that goal. But the good thing is you got a lot of support behind you. So I commend each and every one of you. Thank you for the opportunity. I will send you some. I'll just send it to you, Mr. Jackson, if you don't mind. I do have something that I can send you. That way you can just share with the board.
Probably better to send it to.
I'll send it to you.
Yep.
I'll send it to you tomorrow.
Okay.
But other than that, that's really all I have. And unless you have any other further questions.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for
you so
coming,
much.
everybody. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Are you chief for you, some by chance? Yeah, he kind of
Yes.
looks like him. Don't he? Tell him hi.
Okay. So we're going to move on to the matters for consideration, and to see if we were going to come up with our suggestions for volunteer opportunities for the board. So if we just want to go around the room, we'll start with Takoi. Did you have your suggestions for volunteer opportunities?
Not
No, you did
actually.
not. Okay. And did you guys get a chance to review the recommendations from Commissioner Paris that I was able to send out with the agenda packet? So she did that after she came and spoke, and we sent it out to you guys. Okay, so we're gonna skip over to Koi for now, and then we'll go to Nadia. Did you have any?
No.
Okay,
I'd have to think about that.
you didn't think about that.
I mean, there's Salvation Army. That's always an opportunity, and there's many nursing homes around. I know there was a website. I'm not sure if I sent it to you or not. That had a lot of those volunteer opportunities. I think I was talking about it last time.
I think you were, but if you can send that to me.
I have to find it.
Okay.
But that has a good amount. And then the Rotary Club in Daytona. If we'd be able to do something with them.
Okay.
But that's all.
Mr. Johnson, did you have?
No.
Miss Dunn? No?
Or actually, I just
you
thought
guys.
about I just thought
Okay,
about
go
one more. There's a foundation. It's called Mercy Worldwide, and you could probably partner with them and do something also.
And what do they do? You know?
They do something similar. They do a lot of community events and things
Community
like that.
events.
It's a lot of volunteering.
Okay. Okay, so what I need everyone to do is a little bit of homework and to go back, to go through these suggestions that Commissioner Paris made, and then to bring back something for us to kind of discuss. I know we were supposed to do this last meeting and it got canceled because we didn't have a quorum, but so yeah, so if I'm giving you an assignment for next time is to look at that information and then come back to us with some volunteer opportunities. And like I said, take a look at her stuff, and so then I'll focus on looking up some of this stuff that you've presented for the Mercy Worldwide, and think about things that we can do right now in our community, whether that's a community cleanup or something like that. I know you talked about the violence and the youth, and so that roundtable might be something that we might be able to do in a community setting, where he was talking about where the community can come and we can have they can have a roundtable discussion. As far as the briefing, Mr. Attorney, we could have a couple, or could we just have a board attend one of those briefings, or would that sunshine law? Probably
No.
Okay.
Let's see. No, because they wouldn't necessarily be considering anything that they would be making decisions on for the commission, other than advisory type at best.
Okay.
So, if it got into a question and answer type situation where I thought it was a problem, but if it's necessary for me to be there, just don't do it at 6 a.m. But if it's necessary for me to be there, I'd be
we
there
do that to you guys.
for the 6 a.m., the 4 o'clock, or the
Does the
6
4
o'clock.
o'clock maybe, or even I might be able to wrangle them into like a 4:30.
Yeah, the briefing room's about the size of from the front of this dais up to the front there and coming back will probably be the room size as a whole. Has a screen that you can do a presentation, but if you set a table up in the middle and just talk, when the officers come in, once they park and get set up, that's right where they check in. And then they all gather, and that's where they have their first instructions before they go out into the field. This is what's going on. This is your assignment for the night. And here's some fresh law that just came out. I want you to go over that. If we were going to introduce something from legal, many times we go to a briefing. We're going to do a training. We'll go to the briefing because those officers many times are mandated. If it's something they want everyone to have, they'll mandate that they all end up signing off. So if it's something just for that scheduled period, then you can deal with just the scheduled period, and that's okay as well. Because your opportunity is just to be able to get that, to be able to express, what you think, feel, and how you can help law enforcement understand a little better what's the best way to address the community. Many of them may even, at least some of them, if not many, are, from the community, and they know, but you being able to just help them be that extra voice of here. This is what young people are experiencing now. Many of them are a little bit older. Some of them about your age. I mean, many of them are just young as 19. But you also have some that's 25, 30, and things change in terms of what young people feel is important in the way young people are viewing law enforcement, and they want to know that. They want to know, how can we do it better so that we have a better rapport with you, and we can do a better job in the community. I was their police advisor for 18 years. That's part of what I was doing before I became deputy city attorney. So that's what they like. That's what they'll do, and they'll look forward to hearing from you. So I think that's beneficial. The roundtable is beneficial.
Yeah.
The roundtable allows you to add to it, a community's aspect, some people that's beyond you guys. Generally in a briefing, generally they don't have people beyond law enforcement because they're talking about law enforcement strategies.
Okay.
But when they have something scheduled, they'll bring, like if you're coming in, y'all will come in and y'all will talk and tell them what you came to talk about, and they'll just schedule that in. So I think it's beneficial if you can work that out, and of course the roundtable is good as well.
Okay.
And of course, if you want to set up some type of, a lot of times they have community functions, bazaars, other things where they set up tables and things like that. Maybe some invitational of getting F.A.M.E involved or something, maybe something that becomes your function, to make sure that you can get the V.M.A there and have her kind of be able to make a presentation if you knew of some kind of community function that was going on, but where to be something that's sponsored by, the Youth Advisory Board.
Whether that's at a church function or a
Yeah.
neighborhood function that they're having, that would be something good that we could see about getting them to come. Had any of you heard of F.A.M.E before? No. Today? No. Yeah, I hadn't either.
Oh,
So
yeah, and that's real interesting because
Yeah.
it sounds like a great program and a great opportunity for young people, especially we're at a time when we don't really know where we want to go, what we want to do, but we also know that there's a different conversation about what college means anymore. And the first thing everyone talks about is, well, how much money you make. And she just told you, hey, well, you know what, you can make some good money without doing the 4 year.
Yeah.
But if it's your skill level, you can still get a 4 year later, especially if you're going to have a hard time making it in those first few years without having the job opportunity. So it sounded like a great thing, and that's why I was asking so many questions. I thought it was very interesting and beneficial, and it's unfortunate that it's not apparently.
It's not promote. I don't.
Yeah, that's why
know
I
if
asked
it's
about the
promoted
promotion.
enough.
If it's there, we're missing it, and that's the value of having you guys to be able to say, hey, there's something out here that you guys need to know about, when you're at school, because you have people around you, if it's not you yourselves, that says, I don't think I want to do college. Okay, that's fine, but guess what? They got a program where you could work, get school, ultimately get a 2 year, and be making big money. Or at least good money.
Good money.
Whether it's big money, you all have to decide that on your own, but it's good money. Okay.
Okay. Do you guys have the words just left my. That's what happens when you get older. Do they have like career things at your schools usually? Yes. Okay. And so they've never come to one of those that you're aware of, F.A.M.E or anything.
Or is the question, have y'all gone to them?
Oh. Have you gone to one of the career days or whatever that they have at?
Is it only for seniors or?
I haven't been to a career fair since middle school.
You have not?
Oh wow. Okay. Now, do you know if they're having them and they're just not? You're just not going to them?
Yeah,
or?
they've been having them.
They've been having
There's
them.
one this year. I just didn't go.
Right. But if it's sponsored by y'all, then at least they know somehow that there's an added voice of support for, this is something good, you need to come, because we got a group here that's, or a lady here that's gonna be talking about something special that I think would be helpful, because y'all heard it already. And so y'all can be that encouragement among your peers.
I can also recommend as a recommendation of this board to the commission to maybe have them come in and do a bigger presentation for the community at large at one of like our commission meetings that gets broadcast and recorded. So if that's something you guys think would be beneficial to the community.
Yeah, like this to be Youth Advisory Board recommendations, and not your sponsor's recommendations or the attorney. So yeah, if that's something y'all think you want, say, hey,
think
let's
would
go.
be a good
yeah,
idea.
let's go for that.
Just
So we could be able to promote it.
shake
just
your
as
head
it
or
is.
raise your hand, and we'll get a consensus on that. Okay.
All right.
And then the last
vocal for me.
thing before we move on to public comments is I know some of you are graduating soon and will be leaving us. So we're going to need to do a push to get more members for our board as you guys move on to better and brighter things and graduate from high school. So I have these that I'm going to pass around. If you just want to take a couple and take them back to school. Put them where you're legally allowed to put in school.
Going a little late? Oh, I thought you
I also have copies of
Oh.
paper
Oh.
applications. So if you want to take like 2 or 3, and then we'll just pass them down. And then, of course, the online application, which most people like to do better. So
Take one, pass one now.
yeah, or take 1 or 2, or take more if you think you can. Put them in your home rooms or whatever, and just try to have you guys be the voice for the board to recruit more people for the board. Okay, good. Fantastic. Okay. So do we want to move on to public comments? I'll see.
We will now move on to item number 6, public comments. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak?
No.
Are there any other comments or questions from members of the board?
Yes, sir.
I want to bring something up because over there where I stay at, off of 8th Street, between Derbyshire and Nova, it's a ditch over there, and sometimes at night, if people don't have their lights on all the way, they might just miss and run into it because they don't have no railing on it at all.
Okay, so you said it's on 9th and Derbyshire?
On 8th.
8th.
Okay. Like it's more further down where Nova Road at though.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We do have the program online where it's called See It, Click It, or Click It and See It. So if you see something, you can go online to our website and people can put in like, hey, I saw there's a pothole or whatever. So we do have that on our website, and I will pass this on to our Public Works Department for you.
There being no other discussion, this meeting is adjourned.